Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of the top 10 worst disasters in world history. And let's go straight into the disasters with number 5, the Black Death. The Black Death was a. In fact, yeah. The Black Death was one of the most devastating pandemics in human history, resulting in the deaths of an estimated 75 to 200 million people and peaking in Europe in the years 1346 to 53. So, if we look at this image here, we can show that um, we first came to Europe in like Sicily, Sardinia, and certain places around the Black Sea, then spread to most of Spain and France, most of Italy and Greece, and then spread to places like Zurich and Calais in northern France and the very southern part of Britain, and then going to central England, and I think that's like Netherlands and stuff, and Germany, and then to southern Southern Ireland, Northern Ireland, Northern England and Southern Scotland, and whatever that is. And then it spread to the northern parts of Ireland and Scotland, northern Norway, I think, and stuff. Then to Russia and all these countries here. So yeah. So yeah. The Black Death is thought to have originated in the arid plains of Central Asia, where it then travelled along the Silk Roads, reaching the Crimea by 1343. From there, it was most likely carried by Oriental rat fleas living on the black rats that were regular passengers on merchant ships. Spreading through the Mediterranean and Europe, the Black Death is estimated to have killed 30 to 60% of Europe's total population. In total, the plague reduced the world population from an estimated 450 million down to 350 to 375 million in the 14th century. That's a 22.2 recurring percent decrease of the world's population. Number 4 is the Chernobyl disaster. This is a image to show the spread of the radiation from Chernobyl. Chernobyl's in Ukraine. As you can see, it's affected most of Europe. The area around where it happened is uninhabitable and will be for another 2,000 years. And this is a image of Chernobyl itself. Yeah, the Chernobyl disaster was a catastrophic nuclear accident occurred on 26th of April 1986 at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Ukraine, then officially the Ukrainian SSR, which was under the direct jurisdiction of the central authorities of the Soviet Union. An explosion and fire released large quantities of radioactive particles into the atmosphere, which spread over much of the western USSR and Europe. The Chernobyl disaster was the worst nuclear power plant accident in history in terms of cost and casualties, and is one of only two classified as a level 7 event, the maximum classification on the International Nuclear Event Scale, the other being Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster in 2011. The battle to contain the contamination and avert a greater catastrophe ultimately involved over 500,000 workers and cost an estimated 18 billion rubles, which I can't translate to into pounds or dollars because I don't know how. 400 times more radioactive material was released from Chernobyl than the atomic bombing in Hiroshima. The radiation caused many types of cancer to develop in people who came into contact. The radioactivity of the area means it won't be humanly habitable for an estimated 2,000 years. Right, number 3 is World War Two. World War Two was a global war that lasted from 1939 to 1945 through related conflicts that began earlier. It involved the vast majority of the world's nations, including all of the great powers, eventually forming two opposing military alliances, the Allies and the Axis. And if we look at this picture here, we can see who was on what side. So we had all of northern America and Brazil, and places in central and southern Africa mostly, with Russia, China and India as well in the Allied nations. And Axis was mainly Italy, Germany, Austria-Hungary and Japan. And yeah, it was the most widespread war in history and directly involved more than 100 million people from over 30 countries. In a state of total war, the major participants threw their entire economic, industrial and scientific capabilities behind the war effort, erasing the distinction between civilian and military resources. It was marked by mass deaths of civilians due to the strategic bombing of industrial and population centres, during which approximately 1 million people were killed, including use of 2 nuclear weapons in combat. It resulted in an estimated 50 million to 85 million fatalities. These made World War II the deadliest conflict in human history. Yeah. The Haiti Earthquake is next. It happened in the southern. It occurred in the southern part of Haiti. If we just have a little read, the 2010 Haiti earthquake was a catastrophic magnitude 7.0 mega MW. Don't know what that means. So tell me in the comments if you know. Earthquake with an epicenter near the town of Léogâne, approximately 25 kilometers, 16 miles west of Port-au-Prince, Haiti's capital. The earthquake occurred at 16:53 local time on Tuesday, the 12th of January 2010. By the 24th of January, at least 52 aftershocks measuring 4.5 or greater had been recorded. An estimated 3 million people were affected by the quake. Death toll estimates range from 100,000 to 160,000 to Haitian government figures of about 220,000. Here's an image of the destruction. Just all the houses that you can see are flattened and uninhabitable, really. Number 1 was the Holocaust, in my opinion. If you don't know what the Holocaust is, it was a mass genocide in which approximately 6 million Jews were killed by the Nazi regime and its collaborators. An additional 5 million non-Jewish victims of Nazi mass murders are included by some historians, bringing the total to approximately 11 million. Killings took place throughout Nazi Germany and German-occupied territories. Non-Jewish victims of broader Nazi crimes include gypsies, communists, homosexuals, Soviet prisoners of war, and the mentally and physically disabled. Of the 9 million Jews who resided in Europe before the Holocaust, approximately 2/3 were killed. The Jews and basically the victims were taken to either concentration camps where they'd be forced to work, or to death camps, the most famous of which is Auschwitz, where they would just be slaughtered, really. Another way to describe it. Slaughtered. So yeah, here are a few honourable mentions, or dishonourable mentions, whatever you want to call it, that I was considering, but I didn't put in my top 10. Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In August 1945, during the final stage of the Second World War, the United States dropped atomic bombs on the Japanese cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The two bombings, which killed at least 129,000 people, remain the only use of nuclear weapons for warfare in human history. The China floods of July to November 1931 is another one. They were a series of floods that occurred in the Republic of China, obviously. The floods were generally considered among the deadliest natural disasters ever recorded, and almost certainly the deadliest of the 20th century, when pandemics and famines are discounted. Estimates of the total death toll range between 3.7 million and 4 million. Yeah. Another one was the Great Fire of London. It occurred from Sunday the 2nd of September to Wednesday the 5th of September in 1666. The fire gutted the medieval city of London inside the old Roman city wall. It consumed 13,200 houses and 87 parish churches, St. Paul's Cathedral, and most of the buildings of the city authorities. It's estimated to have destroyed the homes of 70,000 of the city's 80,000 inhabitants, however only 6 deaths were ever recorded. And the final one was the Halifax explosion that occurred in Halifax, Nova Scotia in Canada on the morning of December the 6th, 1917. SS Mont Blanc, a French cargo ship fully loaded with wartime explosives, was involved in a collision with the Norwegian vessel SS Eimer in the Narrows, a strait connecting the upper Halifax harbour to Bedford Basin. Approximately 20 minutes later, a fire on board the French ship ignited her explosive cargo, causing a cataclysmic explosion that devastated the Richmond district of Halifax. Approximately 20,000 people were killed by debris and fires and collapsed buildings, and it's estimated that nearly 9,000 others were injured. The blast was the largest man-made explosion prior to the development of nuclear weapons, with an equivalent force of roughly 2.9 kilotons of TNT. So yeah, that was my top 10, and a few that didn't quite make it onto my list, for reasons that you can probably guess. So yeah, thanks guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and put in the comments, are there any other events that you think should have been on here, which I didn't include or talk about at all? I'd be really interested to know. So yeah, thanks guys for watching, and I will see you in next time.